Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another exciting experience of contact with Bashar. I'm April Rochelle from Bashar Communications, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you all to this fascinating, educational, and amazing experience of contact. How many of you have ever experienced Bashar like this through Daryl? Oh, great. Or let's try it the other way. How many people have never experienced it? Great. Well, it's so nice to see so many new faces. And I hope that you find the information is as helpful to you as it has to so many of us, been for so many of us that have been listening to Bashar for years. Tonight's session is entitled The Manifestation Space. And this is all about the mechanism of manifestation and how we manifest things so that we can hone our abilities, so that we can work with the higher levels of our consciousness much more cohesively in order to create the reality that we desire. So that's one of the hallmarks of Bashar's information, is it really gets detailed into the mechanisms of how things work. So that, one of the ways he's explained that is the idea of making a pot of coffee. If you don't know how to use the coffee pot, you'll probably make a kind of a crummy cup of coffee. But once you understand how to make coffee, you can make a great cup of coffee. And it's the same idea with some of the fundamentals and principles that he's sharing with us. When you apply these things in your life and you understand how to work with them, you really do see a positive effect in your life. And just to let you know that our next big event is in September 9th and 10th in Sedona. And that is going to be an intense weekend. We're probably going to have a surprise for everyone on Saturday night. So I hope you all can join us. I know it's a bit of a distance, but it's going to be an incredible contact weekend. Before we get started, we have a video of the dolphin workshop that we're doing in October. And for those of you who have a calling to swim with dolphins and whales, we have an amazing experience that we provide twice a year, once in October, where we swim with the dolphins for every morning. Actually, this is what our mornings are like. We get up, we sit by the ocean, we listen to a 20-minute guided meditation from Bashar that sparks your imagination and takes you to realms that you can't even imagine. And then we go to the boat and we swim with the dolphins for 4 hours. And then we come back and play. And then we reconvene again in the evenings and we have another guided meditation. And on different nights, we do different things. Sometimes we go to dinner. Sometimes we have other meditation experiences out in other parts of the island. So if this is something that is exciting to you, to find your inner mermaid, as well as to understand how to communicate and understand the language of the dolphins, this is a phenomenal experience to have. So we'll show you a short video so you can see what it's like.
Side with you next to me, oh, when my time is right, you'll glide right back to me. I wanna slide through the ocean blue, right beside you, 2 by 2, oh, when my timing's right, you'll slide right back to me. Oh, won't you be my guide as we're slipping through the sea? I wanna dive so deeply through the crystal waters of the world anew. Oh, and the timing's right, you'll slide right back to me. I'm not expecting you to understand. You're never gonna find me back on land. Oh, and the timing's right, you'll slide right right back to me. All those moments together I do treasure. Does it really get any better? I wish I could have stayed with you for the rest of my day.
Effortlessly and joyfully slipping through the sea. Streamlined like a dolphin, streamlined like a whale. Weaving, diving, bobbing, smoothly gliding, effortlessly through life, slipping through the sea.
I wanna glide through the open sea, side by side with you next to me. Oh, and the timing's right, you'll glide right back to me. I wanna slide through the ocean blue, right beside you, 2 by 2. Oh, and the timing's right, you'll slide right back to me. Oh, you be my guide as we're slipping through the sea. All those moments together I do treasure. It doesn't really get any better. I wish I could have stayed with you for the rest of my day.
In unity, in harmony, in joy and in love, you drift into the depths of the deep blue sea.
Oh, when the timing's right, you'll slide right back to me. As we're slipping through the sea.
So it really is fun. And of course, everybody in the group is into Bashar. So we actually create a Essasani bubble where we're just in a different world and we're in paradise, and you can let go of all of your cares and worries and just go on vacation and have fun. And at the end of it, you will find that your life has changed. So it's truly a remarkable experience. We also offer a whale trip that is in February. That is on a liveaboard boat in the Dominican Republic for a week. And we go out every day and we get in the water with the whales. And there's just nothing like eye-to-eye contact with a humpback whale in the water. It's just amazing. So that's called The Whales of Atlantis, and Bashar will take you on a journey to Atlantis, and you'll interact with the humpback whales and swim with them. So it's truly extraordinary. And I hope if they feel a calling to that, you can come and join us. So I think we're ready to start now. So without further ado, it is my great pleasure to introduce to you the very talented channel for Bashar, Daryl Enka. Hi, Daryl. So again, thank you all so much for being here, and thank you, Daryl and Bashar, for bringing through this wonderful information that has helped to change so many lives. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Thank you very much for being here today. We deeply appreciate it. And I'm just going to get going, so have a good time. See you later. Oh, let us say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? All right, all right. First and foremost, we thank each and every one of you, again, individually and all of you together collectively, for the co-creation of this interaction and the allowance for us to experience through each and every one of you another facet, another perspective, another point of view and experience of all that is. We would like to begin this transmission by talking about an idea to give you more clarity on the concept of manifestation. It has been labeled, has been recognized by many different names in many different cultures, not only on your world, but other civilizations as well. One of the names you have given the idea of the manifestation space comes from your psychological disciplines and has been referred to generally, loosely, as the collective unconscious. It can be referred to that way. It can be referred to as consensus agreement. It can be referred to as the idea of manifestation space, as we have done by labeling or titling this transmission that way. But primarily, it is really all about what might be termed the primary belief. Now, the idea is as follows. First, it is important to realize that you don't have to learn to manifest. You're manifesting, obviously, all the time, or you would not be having any kind of a physiological experience at all. So you're always manifesting. This isn't about learning how to manifest. This is about learning how you already manifest, so you have more conscious recognition, more conscious awareness over the process, understand more clearly the mechanism at work, and how you actually transform concepts from a non-physical, higher level, higher dimension reality into the physical experience that you're all having. The idea begins, of course, with the formation of what we have termed the physical persona, the personality that is composed of the definitions or belief systems and the emotions and the thought processes that then combine to form the behavior of the physical individual that you have chosen to be, to experience yourself as. But in creating the fundamental definitions that underscore that personality construct, that creates within your consciousness a certain resonance, a certain frequency. That frequency then is translated into your reality as what may be collectively called a state of being. That energetic state of being, that particular consciousness frequency, then radiates, in a sense, within your consciousness, ripples out from that center point, just to give it a focal point for you, physiologically, to relate to, and is reflected back. Now, that reflection is not actually happening, of course, outside you. It is happening, again, within your consciousness. But we're calling it a reflection for illustrative purposes to make it, again, easier to understand how the mechanism works, at least by analogy. That reflection, then, encounters something very specific. For you to experience the reflection in the way you do as the experience of physical reality, something specific has to happen. And this is where the manifestation space or the prime belief system actually comes in. This truly primary belief receives the reflection and does something very specific with it, changes the frequency, the resonance, in a very particular way that can be translated by the phrase, "This is real." Without that primary belief telling you that the reflection you're experiencing in your consciousness from the state of being you're creating with your definitions and beliefs, without that phrase, without that recognition, without that enhancement, you would not be capable of experiencing physical reality as if it were real. So manifestation begins in the physical experience with that prime belief that this is real. Now, as you expand your consciousness and begin to recognize more and more often that physical reality is your projection, is your construction, is in a sense an illusion and not really real, in the sense that it doesn't really exist outside of you. It is a construct within your consciousness, but by telling yourself it's real, thus then being capable of making it appear to be outside of you, making it manifest seemingly around you, in your life, in your physical reality. But expanding your consciousness starts to break that down, because you are starting to recognize and realize that physical reality is an illusion. You're starting, in a sense, not to pay as much attention, so to speak, to the prime belief that this is real. You will still pay enough attention to the prime belief, the manifestation space, to still have a physiological experience, but the idea of becoming aware that that's the way it works, and that's the way you reinforce the illusion by having the prime belief that allows you to buy into the collective consensus agreement that what you're experiencing is real, you can still make it more malleable, more flexible, even while you're having the physiological experience. It can become more slippery by allowing yourself a little bit of leeway to start breaking what we call the continuity illusion, the manifestation illusion, the prime belief illusion that this is real. Don't misunderstand, the experience of physical reality is real, but physical reality itself is just a projection, just an illusion, and isn't real unto itself without you manifesting that experience by telling yourself over and over again, every moment, that this is real. So when you begin to wrap your mind around the understanding that there is a specific space, a specific resonance point within your consciousness that we are calling the manifestation space or the prime belief that is reinforcing the idea that what you're experiencing is real, you can now begin to play with it a little bit more consciously. Again, not completely letting it go, but allowing it to be a little bit more plastic, a little bit more malleable, so you can begin to work with it in more conscious ways and allow yourself to begin to manifest the things that are truly more in alignment with your preference, with your resonance, with your true signature vibration, instead of manifesting things that might be out of alignment with it. This will also help reduce the amount of processes that you might need to arrive at any particular point in your life. By allowing things to work for you instead of believing that you have to make them work, you will allow this manifestation space, this resonant point within your consciousness, to begin to truly align with the fundamental frequency of your being, and in so doing, allowing physical reality as a projection to become a little bit more transparent to you as a projection, thus allowing for more slippage in your space-time experience and the breaking, as we said, of what you typically call continuity, where things can manifest much more rapidly, where there doesn't have to be as much attention paid to the concept of time or space in which manifestations appear to occur. So by just knowing and just visualizing and just imagining in any way, shape, or form that works for you, this resonance point within your consciousness, this manifestation space, this prime belief where you're telling yourself this is real, and allowing that to become a conscious, or at least more conscious, directive that you're telling yourself about the reflections you're creating within your consciousness, you can begin to see things start to break apart a little bit more. Things become a little bit more magical in their manifestation. The increase in synchronicity can be quite profound when you wrap your mind around and pay attention to the fact that you have that manifestation space, that resonance point within your consciousness that is constantly reinforcing the idea of physical reality as a real experience, as a real thing. So the more you pay attention to that, the more you're aware that that exists, the more you may, in your journeys through life, as you follow your passion to the best you're able, with no insistence on a particular outcome, actually find yourself capable of manifesting things that are far more representative and far more reflective of your passion, of your joy, of your synchronicity, of your being, of your creativity, of your love, of all the different ways that you might choose to express yourself in positive and constructive ways within your life, by knowing that you're the one that determines whether something really is real or not. Now, again, There is the consensus level to this, where you will not necessarily let go of all that you have agreed to in terms of playing this game called physical reality on Earth. And certainly, you can relax some of your agreements, however, with the consensus to start allowing whatever it is that is more representative of you as an individual to begin to appear in your life, to begin to manifest in ways that serve you, while knowing that when you do that, you are actually also serving the whole, serving the consensus agreement, because it's about becoming the piece of the puzzle picture that you were created to be, more clearly. And just being in that shape will allow other pieces to also simply be the shape they were created to be, so that all the pieces fit together more seamlessly, more harmoniously, more effortlessly in that way. Now, again, the idea of manifestation, as we will remind you, please understand again, as we have just described, it is not something you're doing in terms of bringing something from somewhere else to where you are. Everything is here, and everything is now. Much of it might be invisible to you at this moment, and that's all right, because it's operating on a frequency that is representative of someone that you are still in process of becoming. And as soon as you become that person, as soon as you match the frequency of that invisible thing that is already here, then you begin to perceive it. So this idea of wrapping your mind around this manifestation space, this resonant point, this prime belief, this is real. As soon as you start really playing with that and start recognizing that that exists within you to reinforce the reflection much more often with your awareness, then you will see that the manifestations will occur automatically, because you're simply shifting your vibration and recognizing what has always been here that is relevant for you to experience in your life. And it will always appear in perfect timing when you are focusing on that resonant focal point and knowing that you're the one telling yourself that this is real, this is real, this is real. But the awareness that you're telling yourself that, paradoxically, does a little bit of just the opposite. This is an illusion. This is an illusion. This is an illusion, because I have to tell myself this is real in order for it to be an experience. If you didn't have to tell yourself it was real, then yes, it would be real in the classic meaning of that term. But because you actually have to convince yourself it's real, that tells you that it's not real. It's an illusion. The proof, in a sense, and we know that sometimes you don't necessarily think about physical reality this way, but the proof, in a sense, is as follows. We have talked about the idea that you are really an indestructible, eternal, and infinite being, and that everything exists here and now, which means you do too. That there is really only a single moment. There is really only a single spot. That means existence, in a sense, is permanent. The fact that things in physical reality are not permanent should tell you everything you need to know about the fact that it's an illusion. That's why it breaks down over time. Because it is an illusion, because things that are actually real, like your existence, never change. They're permanent. So the very fact that you see things break down over time, disintegrate over time, get worn over time in your physical reality is a sign that what you're dealing with isn't real, that you have to actually work to maintain it over a period of time by convincing yourself that it's real. But over time, that loosens its interest. It loosens the bond. You start to recognize, as you become more aware, that physical reality is not real. And that's why even within the consensus, things start disintegrating, deteriorating, falling apart, because you're the one that has to hold it together to perpetuate it. So the very fact that physical reality is impermanent tells you it's not real. You're the one that's maintaining it. You're the one that continues to manifest it. And the changes that occur are the changes that are relevant for you to understand in whatever way it's important for you to understand that physical reality is just your projection and it's not something that needs to last. But you will, because you exist and you have that fundamental quality of existence. Is this making some sense to all of you? Yes. All right. So let your mind just sort of ponder the idea of the manifestation space of the prime belief, where you are taking reflections created by your belief system and using the prime belief to convince yourself this is real. And by realizing that you're doing that, letting yourself relax the reality factor so that it can become flexible enough for you to begin to allow it to align with your fundamental vibration sufficiently to begin to experience manifestation on a whole new level. Deal? All right. It's up to you. We thank you then for allowing us to transmit this idea, this seed of change to you. Let it grow within you at whatever rate is relevant for you in whatever way is best for you. In return for the gift you have given us, we ask now, in what way may we be of service to you? You may begin with your dialogues and questions if you wish.
Thank you, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
My question is about physical health, and I'll say it like this. I know myself to not be the physical body or the physical world ultimately in my essence, and yet despite the fact that I feel like my vibration and my sense of well-being is higher than it's ever been,
yes.
I notice that I continue to manifest chronic illness within my body, on my skin.
All right. And therefore, since, as you say, you know that you're operating on a higher vibration, the first assumption would be, how does this experience serve me? Because it must be serving me for a positive reason, even though I may not be aware of what that is, because it must be the result of me operating on a higher vibration, which means by operating on a higher vibration, I must be able to handle whatever it is this experience has to teach me. So what are you learning from having this experience? How is it serving you to have this experience? What are you getting out of beneficially having this experience? Or what do you believe you might need to have this experience for? If you can answer any of those, you will be starting on the path to understanding why you may be manifesting this, because it can't be a contradiction to your vibration. It has to be the result of your vibration for a positive reason. Yes?
Right. And there are many amazing lessons that I've learned from having the skin catalyst. It's taken me down the most metaphysical, beautiful path of deepening in my self-realization.
All right. So that can be one reason why you manifested this, yes?
Certainly.
Now, here's another question. Do you believe that there might be another way in which you can learn the same lessons without necessarily needing to manifest it this way or prompt yourself with this particular experience?
Yes.
And in your imagination, what might another way be that you would be willing to learn the same lessons without doing it this way?
Well, I feel like the path that this catalyst has taken me on is so firmly rooted in terms of my desire to explore my self-realization on deeper levels.
Yes.
And so I feel like at this point, even if the skin catalyst were to leave, I would continue down the same.
I understand that fundamentally, but I am asking you, in what other ways do you believe you would be able to give yourself the impetus to do so if you didn't have that particular signal anymore? What signal would get you to continue to explore those things?
I feel like at this point I wouldn't need a signal. Perhaps that's a limited perspective, but
all right.
But I do feel like regardless of what happens, skin catalyst or not, I'm not going to abandon my spiritual path, you could say. I'm not going to stop.
All right. So in a sense, you are saying you have a preference not to necessarily experience it this way anymore, but if it did continue, you wouldn't necessarily invalidate it, would you?
Correct.
All right. So in a sense, you're saying it doesn't really matter whether it continues or not, it's what you do with it, if it continues or not. Yes?
My preference is that it would not continue, but
But is it a preference, or are you making it conditional? That it really must not continue? Or do you really understand that it doesn't matter to you whether it does or not?
I understand that it doesn't matter.
And yet?
My question would be,
Yes.
if you can perceive perhaps some sort of energetic distortion that I'm holding on to that would perpetuate.
Well, how would you describe the manifestation? Physically. How does it appear to manifest?
Hot and itchy and kind of consuming and
All right.
relentless.
Relentless. All right. Are you itching to do something you're not doing?
There's been an itching to create more, which I've begun to honor more in, sharing my experiences and my wisdom and my.
But is there an aspect of it that you're holding back? Is there something you're afraid to express in moving forward, and what you say is your passion?
Not anymore.
From this moment, or was there?
There was.
What was that? What belief was holding you back?
I think it just came down to what other people would think, or whether or not the information I would put out would be valuable to others.
Do you understand that if it is your truth, it is going to be valuable to someone?
I do.
All right, so you have no longer any hesitation or resistance to putting yourself out there in the way that represents your truth?
Correct.
All right. How do you feel right now?
Quite blissful.
All right. So if that's the state that you prefer, then we would suggest you stay in that vibratory state. Yes?
Yes.
And then in that vibratory state, you will not feel itching, relentlessness, or any of those other symptomologies that you've been describing, because they're not germane or relevant to that state. Yes?
Yes.
But you need to stay in that state.
I understand. Thank you.
Does that help you?
It helps me a lot. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All of you, please realize every single state is distinct and discrete, and the slightest difference in definition is a completely different state with completely different experiences that go along with it. So be aware, be very aware to not create contradictory definitions within the state you prefer. For when people say things like, I am following my passion, but what if I act on my passion and something bad happens? That's not a definition of the state of passion. That's a different state. So watch how you formulate the way in which you define your state, because usually that determines exactly how you will experience your life, because even what may appear to be the smallest difference in definition can make the most profound difference in your experience of life. So pay attention and be clear and precise about your definitions, and don't blend them together in contradictory ways if you don't want to experience a confusing or contradictory life.
Good day, Bashar.
And a you good day.
I'm nervous.
You are excited?
Yes.
All right.
I wanted to thank you, previous transmission where you talked about the blue light technique.
Yes.
And
It's just another permission slip.
And this has been beneficial to me,
All
I'd
right.
say. In it, you said you'd need to eat less and you'd need to sleep less And I've experienced this in that I only need to eat once a day and I don't need that much sleep.
All right.
And I also think it's because I follow my passion most of the day where I'm creating art and becoming the artist that I've been in denial of.
Hold on a moment. Did you say most of the day?
Most of the day.
Not all of the day?
Not all the. Oh, I'm speaking in terms of when I create art.
Well, but aren't there other things you do that are also representative of your passion? In other words, when you are finding yourself to be tired, isn't it then your passion to relax and go to sleep?
Yes.
So that's still following your passion. Remember, acting on your excitement, as we say, doesn't mean you're jumping up and down with your hair on fire. It can be a state of balanced peace and relaxation too. That's another expression of following your passion if that's what's relevant for that moment for you.
Okay.
So does that change the definition now to all of the day?
Sure.
Oh, that was convincing.
Okay. I'll
Yeah,
make that,
sure.
I'll
Whatever.
make that real. I'll make it real.
All right.
My question had to do with taking the next step in my creativity and turning it into a business. And I realized that I have my own beliefs that prevent me from doing this. Is there some...
Hence, you were actually accurate when you said most of the day. Since obviously what you're saying is, this is out of alignment with your passion in terms of the way in which you're going about this. Otherwise, you would have no trepidation. You would have no fear about it. Mm-hmm. Do you understand that when we talk about the idea of acting on your excitement, we also mean that all the components need to be aligned? What it is that excites you, where it is it excites you, when it excites you, with whom it excites you. In other words, there is a way, if there is something for you that you need to learn to do your excitement, there will always automatically be a way in which you can learn it in a way that's exciting for you. Or have it happen in a way that's exciting for you. Even sometimes the idea of synchronistically attracting someone else to help you do something that's not exciting for you to do can actually be an expression of your excitement. But if there are things you believe are important for you to know in operating your business, then the first thing you can understand and assume is that if it's part of your excitement, there will be a way in which you can learn these things and do these things that is exciting. And you don't have to dampen your excitement by assuming or creating a definition that says that they have to be an effort to you that is out of alignment with your excitement. There's got to be a way to learn the things you really truly need to learn that are in alignment with your excitement. There has to be, by definition, because excitement leaves nothing relevant out. It's a complete kit. So if there is something that you truly need to learn, there has to be a way to use your excitement to learn it. You just have to use your imagination. Think outside the box, as you humans say.
Is there something similar to the blue light technique that I can use to make that?
Since you asked that question, I'm assuming there must be for you. Or you wouldn't have thought to ask the question. What is it about your imagination that you don't trust? That's a good question, isn't it?
Yes.
What is it about your imagination that you don't trust?
I don't know if it's about my imagination. It's more of my belief that holds me back, a belief.
I understand that, but what we're hinting at here is that you have an imagination that can create a methodology for you that's in alignment with your excitement to learn what you need to learn. So your beliefs are dampening your imagination. Mm-hmm. You understand?
Yes.
So if you let go of the belief that you don't have the wherewithal to have the imagination to figure out what will work for you, yes?
Yes.
But if you let go of that belief, your imagination will work for you. You will know what will work. You'll be attracted to what will work for you. That's why you'll be attracted to it. So if some permission slip is something you already know, or you wish to change it a little bit, or you wish to attract a completely new permission slip, it'll be there for you. And whatever it is you find attractive, you're attracted to because it's telling you this is what will work for you in alignment with your beliefs right now. You may change, And the permission slip may change, but whatever you're attracted to and whatever you attract through synchronicity is what will work for you at that moment. Do you trust that?
Not yet.
Why not?
I'm not sure.
What makes it seem more beneficial to trust the alternative than to trust that? Because remember, that's why you do anything. Because it appears beneficial in your belief system as opposed to the alternative. If you know the alternative would actually be more to your benefit, but you're not doing it, that is your first clue to tell you you have a belief that's attached to the thing you don't prefer that actually makes it seem to be the thing that is more beneficial as opposed to the thing you know would be more beneficial, but your beliefs are making it seem less beneficial than what you're choosing to do. Because you always move in the direction of what you believe to be beneficial, and you always move away from what you believe is not beneficial. So if you're moving in the direction of things you know are not beneficial, that can only mean you have a belief that's making them look more beneficial than what you know actually would be beneficial. So you have to ask yourself, well, that might mean that I'm afraid that if I actually move in the direction of my excitement, I believe something terrible might happen. You're creating a contradictory definition about what might happen if you follow your joy. What might that be? What are you afraid will happen if you actually just give over to your passion?
Again, I'm not sure.
Oh, yes, you are. You can't get away with that. What are you afraid might happen if you don't hold back on your passion?
Monetary success will happen.
I said, what are you afraid might happen? Are you afraid of monetary success?
I think I have a fear of success.
Why? What do you think will happen if you succeed? And first of all, what does success mean to you? Define success for yourself.
It has to do with money and what I feel about money.
And what do you feel about money?
And how a belief that rich people are greedy and corrupt.
Are they all?
No.
Well, then why can't you be one of the ones that isn't? Why are you assuming you have to be the kind that you don't prefer to be just because you attract abundance? And of course, there are different forms of abundance. It doesn't always have to come in the form of money. Remember that our definition is simply the ability to do what you need to do when you need to do it. Money on your planet can be one expression of abundance, but so can somebody simply giving you something as a gift. So can synchronicity. So why not just be open to all the forms of abundance and assume that whatever form really serves you best will be the form that's there. And if there's only so much of one form, then that means that the rest of what you need will come in another form of abundance. And therefore, you don't have to worry about the form it comes in. It'll balance itself out in whatever way it needs to represent the forms of abundance you need to be who it is you prefer to be. And that there is simply no consideration that it has to, in any way, shape, or form, turn you into the kind of person you don't prefer to be. These are the kinds of definitions you need to clean out of your attic. They don't make any sense. Because the moment you can look in your world and answer the question the way you did when I asked you, well, are all wealthy people greedy, terrible people? You said no. The moment you can find an example of the opposite of what you're afraid might happen, you know that can be just as true for you. So then the question would be, well, then why are you assuming that it would be otherwise? What do you believe about yourself that makes you think that you would automatically be the kind of a person who would become a greedy, bad person? Why do you believe that about yourself? Why do you believe that's so automatic and inevitable? Well,
again, it's something I haven't looked at.
Well, then you can begin to look at it, can't you?
Yes.
We're going to say something here that sort of covers this territory. Apply it however it makes sense to you, all of you. But pay attention to this concept. Many people on your planet are afraid to move forward because they feel guilty about something within themselves. You follow me? And that guilt holds them back. And in a lot of cases, they feel that they need to be guilty to keep themselves in check. It's what you're saying. If I don't feel guilt, I might run amok. You follow me?
Yes.
But in fact, just the opposite is true. The fact that you are actually even capable of feeling guilt means you automatically know who you prefer to be and would never actually intentionally do anything harmful. Because if you actually believed that you were not a good person, you would never feel the guilt. Do you understand the paradox here?
Yes.
The fact that someone feels guilt means they have nothing to feel guilty about. That's the paradox. Someone who is, in your terms, sociopathic never feels guilt. So the fact that you might at first feel the guilt is your signal that you will always pay attention to what you're doing. You will always have a positive intention about your actions. And therefore, you don't need to feel guilty. You can simply rely on the idea that you have an intention to be a good person. That's enough. You don't need the guilt to prompt you into being a good person, because the fact that you had the guilt means you're a good person, or you would never have felt guilty in the first place. So having guilt once is enough to tell you that you don't need to feel guilt anymore about being who you truly are. Is this making sense to all of you?
Yes.
All right. So take that to heart. Get on with your life in the way that you prefer. And if you find yourself dealing with that hesitation again, just go back into the understanding that you know you have a positive intention. You're doing the best you can. You will always check in with yourself, because that's simply what you do. And you will keep moving forward and keep course correcting and keep balancing yourself, because that's what you intend to do. Yes?
Thank you, Bashar.
Does this help you?
Yes, it does.
All right, thank you.
It's a great honor to be here.
Good day, Bashar.
And a you good day.
Thank you for talking with us today, and I appreciate all the help that you've given.
It is our pleasure. Thank you, and our appreciation for the co-creation.
I have some heavy questions that have come to my attention, and I wanted to get a
Heavy questions.
Heavy questions.
All right.
I do understand this is a 3D virtual reality, and we're actually in a secondary matrix that exists for our use as a soul-based entity.
Yes,
as
in a sense.
Sort of a soul cage that we get to do these.
Well, you've
exercises.
created it, yes.
And I've been told from various sources that the reincarnation process has come to a shutdown and is not happening anymore.
Well, first of all, there's no such thing as reincarnation.
Okay. Well,
Because that's an illusion of the space-time framework. Since everything exists all at once,
right.
all lives exist at the same time, some of them just in a vibrational framework you call the past. But you are making connections to those other people, those other lives that exist simultaneously with you. You're making those energetic and informational connections from the present, as are they from their present, making such connections to you and others. So the idea of reincarnation is the illusion. The actual mechanism is multiple simultaneous incarnations that you make present-day connections to download information and experience from those other lives, those other people that are existing at the same time you do. You, as a person, have never been them. They, as people, will never be you. Now, you might, from a higher level, the oversoul level, say, well, I'm an extension of that oversoul. That other person is an extension of the same oversoul. Therefore, from that level, I can say, as the oversoul, I can say, I have both of these lives. But as a person, since you're already an extension and so is that other person, a simultaneously existing extension, you can't say that one would actually reincarnate as the other, because the first person never, in a sense, actually ever goes away.
Okay, I understand.
Is this making some sense?
Yes.
All right, so the idea that the reincarnational cycle is coming to an end or has stopped is exactly the idea of realizing that it never existed to begin with in the way you thought it did.
Okay.
That's why it has stopped. Your realization is now caught up to the understanding of what the mechanism actually is. You've modernized your definition of it, brought it into what you call your 21st century, and let go of the outdated, mythological, old-fashioned, medieval concept.
All right. Well, that's good.
Yes.
Well, I was made aware that this specific matrix, the one that we are all sharing right now,
Yes.
is coming to a conclusion.
Well,
Is that
the
accurate?
idea of the old cycles are concluding, and you're going into new cycles of more positivity. Because you have, in a sense, for the cycles you wanted to experience, for the themes you all chose to explore, you have kind of reached the end of the negative cycles. That's why you're seeing so much negativity popping up in the world around you, such an accelerated way, because as we have said, you're getting it all out on the table, because there's no more time left to experience these things the way you used to. You have to get it all out of your system so that you can move on to something different. You have to make choices based on the worlds that you actually prefer to experience now, and that's why you're really starting to physiologically split into different parallel realities. You may still be able to look across the aisle and see other realities you're no longer in, but a physical split has begun. And just because you can see a reality that is a different parallel reality from the one you prefer doesn't mean you're living in it anymore. You're actually just observing it at a distance from the parallel reality you are now in.
Okay. Okay. I have recently omitted the use of meat in my diet, and I've noticed a big jump in my frequency.
Yes.
And
for some people, it will work that way, yes.
And my intuitive abilities have skyrocketed.
Of course.
And
as you refine or increase or accelerate your frequency, those will be the natural symptoms that go along with it by whatever methodology you believe is correct for you.
I've also invoked a statement that I've revoked my soul contracts and all karmic debt.
There's no such thing as karmic debt.
Okay, well then that's not a problem anymore.
No, it's not. All you're saying is, I have simply made an agreement with myself that I will choose as best as I can to remain in balance.
Okay.
That's it. That's all you're doing. And you are also realizing in saying I have revoked your soul agreement, all you're saying is you have also consciously begun to realize that in this particular life, you can actually change your theme.
And that's what I want to do. I've exited my what I would call my life script. I'm writing it as I go.
Yes.
That's my goal.
Yes.
And one of my biggest intents right now is to get financial freedom.
Well, again, remember what we said about abundance.
Right.
Don't
right.
get stuck in the idea of the money being the only way.
Right. But
yes.
But having financial means will provide me a great amount of tools that I want to do.
And how do you know that those tools can't come in other ways? Again, you're insisting there's only one way you can imagine them happening.
But it's extremely effective.
All right, if you want to insist on slowing down, that's up to you.
Well,
You're actually resisting a more effective method.
So there is a better path that I'm
There is a
not
more
seeing.
effective method, and I have just described it to you. Open up and be willing to allow other forms of abundance to be there if they need to be. If financial wealth does turn out to be, for specific circumstances, the most effective method to bring you the tools you need, then that is what will happen. But if it's not happening that way, you have to relax your definition and understand that that may be a signal there is actually a more efficient, more effective way. Be open to allowing it to manifest in your life, or you will shut the door through which a more effective way might come, just because you're not willing to recognize it as the idea of abundance.
Being specific to the path that you can see in me, and I know I'm speaking to my higher self.
Yes.
Can you give me some clues?
I just did. I gave you the biggest clue I can give you. You need to relax your definition about the concept of what you need to be effective in your life. You have to let the machine work. You have to let the toolkit work. When you're talking about effective tools, the most effective tools are the ones that are already built into the toolkit of excitement. That is, that when you act on your passion, to the best you are able, with no insistence or assumption as to what the outcome ought to be, and I mean none, then you activate the toolkit. The tools in the kit are that your passion becomes the driving engine that moves you through life. It contains the organizing principle of synchronicity that shows you exactly what you need to do, in what order, and when, and that makes you most efficient. It becomes the path of least resistance that allows you to move through your life in an effortless way. It becomes the path that connects you to all other expressions that are relevant for you in life of your joy, your passion, and excitement. It becomes the reflective mirror that reveals to you anything within you as a belief that might be out of alignment with your excitement, so you can identify it, see that it makes no sense to hold on to, let it go, and add that energy to your excitement so you can continue to accelerate. And it becomes whatever form of support or abundance it needs to be to allow you to continue to efficiently act on whatever it is that is true for you, that is representative of your passion. It is a complete kit. It contains everything you need. It leaves nothing out. And all you have to do from that point forward is simply choose to stay in a positive state, no matter what the result may be or look like from the actions that you took from within your excitement. That's the entire instruction manual. There is no more to it. There is no addendum. There is no table of contents. That's it. That's the entire instruction manual for how reality manifestation works. So that's all you need to do.
So what you're saying is I'm too narrow in my view at this point.
That is what I'm saying. You need to broaden your definition so that more of the automatic machine can work for you more effortlessly instead of constricting the pathway through which it gets to you. By insisting that it can only be this way, therefore you will only recognize this as valid, therefore leaving out a lot of the rest of what could be validly working for you in an extremely effective way. Because here's the thing. What you're experiencing is the idea of the ego mind thinking it knows what needs to happen. Your mind has no idea what needs to happen. You think you do, but you don't.
So I need to just let it go, is what you're saying.
You need to surrender, and surrender not meaning you give up control. You need to surrender to the control you already have.
Surrender the methodology.
The idea is to go with your own flow because you already have a flow. You already have a current, and the current knows exactly where you need to go. It will never lead you astray. The only way you can, in a sense, land on the shore that is not correct for you is by swimming against the current and not going with the flow. And swimming against the current is simply resisting the natural self, trusting that your life unfolds automatically in exactly the way it needs to. Even if you manifest something at the moment you don't prefer, objectively don't prefer, it's still got to be there for a reason you do prefer. That's how you use what you don't prefer in a positive way. So even if something crops up and you go, well, objectively, neutrally, I recognize, I observe, that is not what I prefer, but there must be a reason it's here. Let me stay in a positive state so that I will be able to intuit what that reason is and use it in a positive way, because I know that by staying in a positive state, I can even springboard off things that I don't prefer in the direction I do prefer.
A stepping stone is what you're saying.
Absolutely. Everything exists for a reason. Whatever's going on in your life at this moment is there for a reason. If you use it in a positive way, you will see why it is there. Sometimes it can be as simple as manifesting something you don't prefer just in order to give you clarity about the difference between what you don't and do prefer. That's reason enough sometimes for something you don't prefer to manifest, just to give you clarity on what you do prefer by contrast.
So if I follow this approach, which I will do.
Thank you for catching yourself.
My goal is to attain an earlier retirement. And
Excuse me.
No goals. My plan.
Excuse me.
My will.
You can plan a little bit, that's fine.
Okay.
But remember, your plan has to contain an ability for the plan to be dropped and changed. So have a plan, but allow the plan to be flexible enough to change the plan if necessary according to what needs to happen. Because when you plan too much, when you have too rigid of a goal, then it becomes the conditions and the insistence that we're talking about, and that means you are now voiding the actual principle
and it creates
that
blocks.
would work for you.
Creates blocks. Okay.
Yes.
So from this new knowledge that you've given me, what is my probability of success?
The awareness of the knowledge, the probability is 0 or 50-50. The application of the knowledge, 100%. But watch your definition of success, because it may contain conditions that will once again reduce the probability. We, by definition, generally remind all of you, quote unquote, that if at first you don't succeed, redefine success.
That sounds like a cop-out.
It's not. And the fact that you say it sounds like a cop-out means that you're working with negative definitions. Because you can come up with a positive reason for that, because you know we would not have suggested it were there not the possibility of looking at that concept in the positive way. So when you say it sounds like a cop-out, that means you're already coming from a negative definition of that phrase.
So I have some work to do.
Yes, you do. But that's fun. That's the challenge. That's why you're having a physical life. In order to experience the process itself, remember, if you want to talk about a goal, the process is the goal. Not where you think you're going to go. The goal of having a life is to experience transformation from one state to another. The process is the point. As many people on your planet say, the journey is the destination. So live in the moment, stay in the moment, work with what's happening in the moment. That's the whole point. That's your goal, to be here now, not to get somewhere else, to be here now. If you simply allow yourself to be here now, you will find very quickly you will be some other now, much faster. Because it can only happen in the now. When you set your sights on too far of a future, you're not living in the now, and it remains where? In the future.
I always try to insist on being present as much as possible.
But it's not an insistence. It's choice.
All right, one final question.
Yes.
I heard a statistic which was quite startling, and I wanted to get your confirmation.
Ooh, a startling statistic.
Yes. I've been told that the ratio of people on this planet that are soul-bound, in other words, they have a soul, a fractal of a soul in them.
What does that mean?
Well, in other words, it's 5,000 to 1. In other words, for every single person who has a soul in their body.
The soul is not in your body, but go ahead. I understand
there's
what you
that
mean.
connection. There's that connection to source self. So
Yes.
Source self.
Yes.
The ratio of human beings living on this planet
Yes.
is 5,000 to 1 that has a soul source connection. The other 4,999, the ratio, are basically soulless entities, or soulless beings just playing out their life path, their script, in order to play the game that we're in.
And what would be the point of playing out the script if there's no soul connection?
They are basically part of the puzzle for us soul players to have this experience.
So what you're saying is they're just part of the illusion that you're projecting, and they're not actually people in the same concept.
Correct. Is that a correct
You can
statement?
do that, but the idea is how would you tell the difference?
You really can't.
And therefore, what's the point of talking about it?
I found it an interesting statistic. In other words, when those people die, they don't go anywhere. They're just recorded in the Akashic record.
But that's because you're
it.
saying they're not people.
They're like robots. They're
not robots, they're not
organic,
people, they're not anything but projections of your consciousness.
But they're organic representations of beings that
But
supposedly
physical
we interact
reality
with.
is an illusion anyway, so what difference does it make how real they look?
Or you're making me go in circles.
Yes. Because in a sense, it's a pointless question.
But if I interact with another person who's also soul source connected, there's real meaning there.
There's real meaning in all of it, because you're the one creating the meaning anyway.
But there's more meaning with those.
No, there is not. You see how you like to qualify things?
Yes.
Stop doing that.
Okay.
And fundamentally, I know this may also add a little bit more confusion to you, but fundamentally, the answer to your question is no.
No, as in.
No, that doesn't really exist in the way you're describing it.
So it's a matrix game that's being played on me?
Yes. Well, not played on you. It's part of the idea of the exploration of consciousness, and it gives you an opportunity to examine things that you also believe about yourself.
Okay.
So it's an opportunity to decide whether or not there is some truth in that experience or that description for you or not.
All right.
That's really what it's about more than anything. It's not about, is this really accurate as a statistic? Because remember, your reality changes moment to moment. Nothing is static, it's all dynamic. I could say in one moment it's an absolutely accurate statistic, and 5 seconds from now I could say it's complete bunk. And both will be true. It just depends on where you're at and what you choose to experience of the reality that you choose to be aligned with. Anything you can imagine in some sense is real, because you cannot imagine non-existence. The only real question is that the way you want to define the reality you prefer to experience? It's up to you. Does it work for you as an idea? Does it work for you as a permission slip to think that way? Yes, no? It's up to you. It's all real in one context, and in another context, none of it is real. Does that help? Or does it make you go in more circles?
Yes, it's more circles.
Then that was the point. Thank you.
Thank you.
One little tiny bit of advice: stop overthinking everything.
Amazing day to you, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
So excited to be here right now.
Oh, all right. So excited you are there.
All right. I am very excited about playing music. I'm a musician.
Yes.
And I'm very excited by the idea of creating kind of like a gateway or portals to higher consciousness.
All right. Well,
through music.
What's stopping you?
Nothing necessarily.
Oh, all right. So what you're saying is you are doing that.
Yes.
Yes.
And I want to do it more.
Well, what's stopping you?
Doing it more, I guess.
You mean not doing it more is stopping you? Doing it more wouldn't stop you from doing it more, obviously.
Yeah, I guess so.
So you're saying you're not doing it as much as you would prefer to?
Yes.
Because what's stopping you?
Nothing's stopping me, actually. I'm doing it. I just want to do it. I'm wondering, my question is, if you have something that would help me do it more powerfully.
Yes. Oh, you want me to tell you?
Yes.
Do you believe you can do it more powerfully?
Yes.
Then what do I need to say?
I don't know. I was just thinking, like, maybe in your interstellar travels you'd encountered...
Are you telling me that you've come to us knowing everything you need to do, but you've decided to ask us in case you're missing something?
I don't know everything that I need to do.
You don't?
I know the big chunk.
Isn't that enough?
I guess. I mean, it's enough. I'm still curious, though. I want to know what you think.
Oh, you're under the impression that you're missing something.
Maybe.
What about the idea that you're missing nothing? Is it possible for you to actually believe that? Maybe what you're missing is the ability to believe that you're not missing anything. How's that?
Touche. I like it.
We know that many people on your planet worry a lot that they're missing something, and in fact, the only thing they're missing is that they're worrying that they're missing something. So stop missing that.
Okay.
Pay attention to the fact that all you're doing is worrying you're missing something when in fact you may not be.
Okay.
How about this? Since you know, we assume, we'll give you the benefit of the doubt, that you know that excitement is a complete kit and leaves nothing relevant out, right?
Right.
So that if in fact you just move forward in your life and there was actually something you needed that you were missing, wouldn't it actually tell you what that was?
Yes.
Then that means you're missing nothing if you know that.
No.
Because even if you're missing something, it will tell you what you're missing, and then that means you're not missing anything.
Okay.
Because you will have it when you need it. Even if you don't have it now, maybe you don't need it now. But when you become the person more and more that you prefer to be, you will have everything you need, everything that